I thought I did, but I guess I really didn't, bitch. I don't give a fuck about nothing but my chicken strips. I count them up, then I drive into the distance. I'll tell a nigga I don't give a fuck in an instant.
Yo, what's good with y'all? It's your boy DT Blake here with our official NFL mock draft. We got about 15 days, 2 more weeks. I think it's time to go ahead and do our official mock draft. I was thinking a lot on doing it later, but this is after the fact of the OBJ signing to the Baltimore Ravens. So I'm going to go ahead and do it now because I think it's safe to do it now, 2 weeks before the draft, because the only thing that was holding me back was that Lamar Jackson contract holdback situation with Baltimore. But now I'm going to be announcing the trades before the draft, before I give y'all the draft picks. With the first trade of the day, we got the Chiefs trading their 25th overall pick, along with their fourth round overall pick, my fault guys, to the Giants for the 25th pick. And with the second trade, we'll have the Jacksonville Jaguars moving back from 23 to 24, or the Vikings moving back from 23 to 24 with the Jaguars, and they also get a 4th round pick. So I'm not gonna lie, I think Minnesota gets a little steal there. The third trade of the day will be the New England Patriots trading up from 14 to 11 with the Tennessee Titans. They will be giving up a 3rd round pick and a 4th round pick as well. So Titans get a little huge haul. Help them a lot since Derrick Henry's demanding a trade. And that'll put the Titans in a whole lot of departure, I'm not going to lie. And with the final trade of the day, the Lions will be moving up from number 6 to number 3, as well as giving up their 2nd round pick. So the Lions are in the top 3 of the 2023 NFL draft. And with the first overall pick, the Carolina Panthers will be selecting C.J. Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State. Oh, C.J. Stroud, man, he's probably my favorite quarterback out of this draft. And I think I would agree with him being the first overall pick here. I believe he's the most accurate QB. I don't think he's the most mobile, but I think he can escape the pocket at times. I think he's pretty well at that. Not very talented at it, but he is the most accurate passer. And I think he has been the best Ohio State QB prospect since Justin Fields and Dwayne Haskins. I don't know. I think he is a clear, conscious first overall pick. Not knocking on Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young is also very talented, and he's also a winner, and I like winners. But C.J. Stroud, he played at a very high level and almost beat that Georgia team. I really believe he should have won that game. If they would have made the field goal, I think they would have won on, played TCU, and won the championship. I think it could have went either way with Sports Stats Admitted or C.J. Stroud. I think Stroud had a very good chance at winning the championship, and I think he should be the clear, conscientious first overall pick here. He's going to come into a Panthers system where they just traded away DJ Moore, but they're going to be rebuilding, so I don't expect him to come in year one to all of a sudden just bring the Panthers into playoff contention. No, I think they're going to build around him. And with the 2nd overall pick, the Houston Texans will be selecting quarterback Bryce Young out of Alabama. Dude's just a winner. He can make plays at all high levels, and the only knock on him they have is his height. I've given this dude a lot of criticism. I have to give it to him. He's really a good baller, and he can play at a high level in the NFL with the right system. But Houston is not a great system. And I would not expect him to perform at a high level going to Carolina or Houston the first year. I wouldn't expect it. I would expect a Trevor Lawrence type year, and I'm not knocking him to be a bad NFL QB at all. I would expect him to build around the offense. And I'm not sure. I really don't like Houston picking any QB because I don't really trust Houston developing QBs. I don't know necessarily if that would be the best system, but it would be one hell of a story if Bryce Young can go into Houston and change their whole franchise, because it seems like they haven't won a playoff game, maybe even in their franchise, ever since they had Deshaun Watson. I think that was the only year. Maybe one with Ryan Fitzpatrick, I'm not sure. But all I know is Houston needs some help and they need to get this guy. And with the third overall pick, the Detroit Lions, who's traded up with the Arizona Cardinals, will be selecting quarterback Anthony Richardson out of Florida. Look, I know they have Jared Goff, and I saw that he's only 28 years old. And that's a little bit younger than Dak. And Jared Goff's not a bad QB. He's not a bad QB, and he's not a good QB. He is a very mediocre QB at best. Now, look at the Detroit Lions. Take out Jared Goff and give him a QB that is explosive and that just has top-end talent. I'm not saying Anthony Richardson is going to come in and be top-end talent, but he has a skill set that if you hit on, you hit big. And the Lions, they already have a good team. They're already going to be in playoff contention. Why not trade up for a QB that can sit behind Jared Goff with an explosive team they already have, re-sign your players, and then once Jared Goff's deal ends, you let him go and you let Richardson run your offense. Detroit needs to pursue this option. It should be an immediate look. They don't really need anybody in this draft. So if I were them, I'd just take the one position that you aren't really extremely explosive in and just pursue it. And with the fourth overall pick, the Indianapolis Colts will be selecting Will Levis, QB out of Kentucky. There is a lot of criticism. This is the most hated player of the draft so far. I don't understand all the hate. I mean, I knock him a little bit. I don't necessarily think he is the best out of the 4 QBs there is, but he does show the most NFL. Him and Stroud, I believe, do show the most NFL-ready talent. Dude's got an arm. He can run. He can make plays. Josh Allen. Not saying he's going to be Josh Allen, but we've seen a similar scenario. We've heard it all around the internet, and it's true. He's coming in just like a Josh Allen type. Everybody hated on him. Came from a little bit of a small school. Didn't perform well, but he is a prospect just like Anthony Richardson is, and may not be the most flashiest prospect because he can't do backflips and all that, but he's got an arm. Maybe not a Josh Allen arm, but he can run those RPOs and he's got an arm. And with the 5th overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks will be selecting Will Anderson, edge out of Alabama. I don't necessarily think he is a Micah, and I don't necessarily think he's a Kayvon Thibodeau, but I do think he is a day one ready NFL edge player. I think he can develop right in with the Seahawks. They'll have Nwosu on the other edge, and then they'll have Will Anderson. And the Seahawks are already in playoff contention. Seahawks would be nasty, and I do believe they're a sleeper team next year for a Super Bowl contender, because if they make the right picks here at 5, like Will Anderson here, and boost up to that defense after re-signing Geno Smith, Seahawks are scary. And not to mention as well, they already have the 20th overall pick as well. So they got, and they ever had quite an offseason. So I would watch out for the Seahawks. I'm a big fan of them taking Will Anderson at 5, and I think either Will Anderson or Jalen Carter will fall to him. And with the 6th overall pick, the Arizona Cardinals will be selecting Jalen Carter, defensive tackle out of Georgia. Jalen Carter's been in a little bit of trouble, everybody. I mean, he was caught speeding with a driver that was under the influence. Spectation or whatever on the internet was saying that he was under the influence while in the vehicle, but recent news came out that he wasn't. He was under the influence, but he was a passenger of the seat of the crash that killed, I think, a mother. Prayers to her family always. But I think he might just be clear of those accusations, so I don't want to speak a lot on it. I mean, he's a beast. He's a D-tackle from Georgia. You know where you're going to get out of him. I think he's going to go in there and be a beast. I heard there was some problems at the pro day. I don't think you look in too much of that. The only issue really is just the off-the-field issues. Hopefully he can keep his head on straight. And with the 7th overall pick, the Las Vegas Raiders will be selecting Devon Witherspoon out of Illinois. Dude is a tough corner. He's a little faster. I mean, he's just what you want and everything in a corner. Came out of a smart school, but I think he has the most like developmental like process type out of all the corners. I think I've seen a lot of stuff about the Raiders trying to trade up to get this guy. They think that he is going to be a top 5 selection. I mean, I don't know. I haven't watched too much tape on Devon Witherspoon, but I know enough that Las Vegas loves him enough to take him at 7. So, I mean, I believe he's a top 3 corner. I don't necessarily think he's the best corner. But I mean, I could see a position why someone would take him at number 7, only because of the raw athletic ability he has. I really do hope he can blossom into one of the top corners in the league. But I mean, everybody takes the top aggressive corner in the league, like in the draft. With the 8th overall pick, the Atlanta Falcons will be selecting Tyree Wilson, edge out of Texas Tech. Dude's also a developmental piece. Atlanta needs a whole lot of those. They just need to take the players that will take time to build and blossom in the future. Tyree Wilson is a perfect example of an edge doing that. I think that Atlanta does need some help on defense. Offensively, they got their weapons. They got Drake London. They got Mac Hollins. They got Kyle Pitts. And then they got, Tyler Algier. I think Atlanta just need to take their developmental. Defense, they're non-existent. They're probably bottom 30 in the league. So taking a developmental edge guy to rush the passer, which they needed help on, that would help out. Atlanta, they got decent corners. They may need safety help, but they need an edge rusher. With the 9th overall pick, the Chicago Bears will be selecting Peter Skoronski, tackle out of Northwestern. This is most people think he's a developmental piece. I don't think so. I think he's an NFL Day Ready 1 star. I think he goes in, especially in a Bears offense, where they just got DJ Moore, and then they got the Packers tight end. I forgot his name. They just got what's his name? Who did they get? They got somebody, but the Bears are looking pretty nice. And they also showed interest in Zeke, so I don't know. I think the Bears, all they need is a good tackle, and now we can really see what Justin Fields can do with a decent tackle. I hope that would work out. And with the 10th overall pick, the Philadelphia Eagles will be selecting Brian Brant's safety out of Alabama. Usually safeties and running backs aren't normally supposed to be taken this high ever since Jamal Adams and Saquon. I don't care. Eagles are in some trouble, safety trouble help. They need help. They just lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Lions. Like I was saying earlier, Lions should be contenders, which is weird to say now. And the Eagles, they know how to build their safeties. Last couple years, they had Malcolm Jenkins. They just had C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They had a good year with. They even had Marcus Epps, who was pretty decent for a little bit. So Eagles can know how to develop their safeties. If they take one of the top safety prospect in this draft, they're set. And with the 11th overall pick, the New England Patriots, who had decided to trade up with the Titans, will be selecting wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba out of Ohio State. Patriots needs receiver help. I feel like this is a situation where everybody's talking about Mac Jones being traded. I don't think he gets traded. I think they give him a one more prove-it-year deal. And why not just give him Jackson Smith-Njigba, the slot receiver out of Ohio State? He is an amazing slot receiver, in my opinion. I think he can play a lot like Olave, maybe even better. Reminds me of Amon-Ra St. Brown. And why wouldn't Mac Jones want a receiver like Amon-Ra? Everybody wants a receiver. Every QB wants a receiver that can get open in the space and make plays after the catch. I think he's a great receiver. I love my Ohio State offensive players all around. Big fan of them. They just lost Jacoby Myers. It should help. And with the 12th overall pick, the Houston Texans will be selecting Lucas Van Ness, edge out of Iowa. Dude is a baller. One of my day one stars. I will put him in my list because dude can wreak havoc on the field. This was a toss-up. I really wanted to take like a Quentin Johnson or Jordan Addison here with the Texans, but I thought it was too early to select one. And the Texans, they're really going to not be that great anyway. So then why not just take the best guy on the board? And I think Lucas Van Ness is criminally underrated. I think this dude is a baller. He can pressure any like the QB in any type of way. He can go on the inside. He can put him on the outside. You could put him in pass coverage. I think he is great. He is a fast motherfucker. Not the fastest in the world, but he is just aggressive and he has a TJ Watt type mindset, I believe. And I love tight ends and D linemen from Iowa. So I think that would work out big in the Texans' favor. Texans just need some ballers and they go ahead and get Bryce Young. And then they go ahead and get Lucas Van Ness. And hopefully maybe they get a receiver out of the second round that blossoms. It should be good. And with the 13th overall pick, the New York Jets will be selecting offensive tackle Paris Johnson out of Ohio State. Jets already got Mekhi Becton. So you might be thinking, why do they take Paris Johnson? Well, Paris Johnson's one of the few tackles of this class that could be moved to interior lineman and not actually be terrible. He is very good at playing interior and tackle. He is just as good as there. So you can move him anywhere from left tackle to left guard. That is a perfect player to have, and that is definitely top 15 picks just because of that alone. And he's a beast. He puts people on their ass. I mean, who doesn't want that? He's a big dude. He's 6'7", like 330 pounds. I mean, and he's athletic. He's got pure body muscle. Come on. And with the 14th overall pick, the Tennessee Titans, who traded down, will be selecting Darnell Wright, right tackle out of Tennessee. This is probably one of my favorite picks. Tennessee Titans obviously pick with the player in their area with Darnell Wright, and they need a tackle. I mean, it works all in their favor. And I think this is the developmental tackle right here, which the Titans, I mean, why not just take a tackle? You need a tackle anyways. I mean, y'all, if Derrick Henry's demanding a trade, I'm sorry, Titans, y'all aren't going to be as good, so just take the developmental piece. And with the 15th overall pick, the Green Bay Packers will be selecting Quentin Johnson, wide receiver out of TCU. A lot of people have been knocking Quentin Johnson on the internet about he doesn't play up to his size and doesn't make the big play. He makes the big plays, but in the NFL, they're not so sure he can make the big plays. And I'm not so sure either, only because of the TCU receivers that were drafted before him. And I don't think it's fair to use the past of TCU receivers being drafted before him, because it's really just not fair to him. And I get what the scouts say and the analysts and all the experts, but let's just admit it. He had a year, man, and he's a baller, and let's just all hope for the best of him. I think he can really perform at a high level. And with the 16th overall pick, the Washington Commanders will be selecting Michael Mayer, tight end out of Notre Dame. A year back in mock drafts, believe it or not, he was in the top 5s of most of people's mock draft. All of a sudden, the concern is a little bit of an injury concern, which wasn't a bad injury, and run blocking. And that was what it was really brought up, and I don't think run blocking will be a big issue for someone with his frame. So I think he can come to the NFL and be day one ready. And with the 17th overall pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be selecting cornerback Joey Porter. Let's just admit it. We all want the Steelers to pick Joey Porter, all because of the Tracy Porter. And not only because of that, the Steelers are lacking at corner. And Joey Porter, I'm just going to admit it, he is my favorite corner of the class. I love my Penn State defense. Penn State is they always bring in amazing defenders. Micah, they just brought in a whole bunch of people. I also love Jaquan Brisker for the Bears. Hey, man, that would be crazy if he went to the Bears as well. That would be awesome. But that's off topic here. Steelers need a corner. I know they also want to tackle, but this is a great pick. And with the 18th overall pick, the Detroit Lions will be selecting Kalijah Cansey, defensive tackle out of Pitt. I watched him. I didn't really know who he was until I saw him at the combine and watched more tape on him. Ran a blazing 40-yard dash. And I saw him on everybody's first-round mock draft, so I had to check him out. He's pretty much of a baller. And with the 19th overall pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be selecting Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah. He knows how to get open. He makes plays. It's really a toss-up on who's better, him or Michael Mayer. I think you could go either one. Commanders could go Dalton Kincaid. I feel like no fan should be as mad if they would have picked Michael Mayer instead. I feel like these two are in their own level. I think I like Kincaid just a bit more because he's a little bit more flashy, and I'm not going to lie, it reminds me a little bit of a Travis Kelce. I'm sorry. He does. I think he's going to be the best tight end in this class. And with the Commanders, I think if you're just going to just go with Howell or Brissett, why don't you just give the man a tight end? Everybody loves tight ends. And with the 20th overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks will be selecting Brian Bryce, defensive lineman out of Clemson. Clemson always brings in ballers. Not this year. They didn't bring in the most ballers. You had Miles Murphy and Bryce. It wasn't really no top 5 potential guys. They are top 10 potential, but they also are rumored to fall in the top 30. But, I mean, Brian Bryce is a guy that, I mean, you either hit on or you don't. He's coming out of a big school. He didn't have much playing time due to injuries, but, I mean, he was a big baller. He was a very highly recruited player in high school. I mean, I feel like it's a really risky pick to take Brian Bryce in the top 20, but I mean, hey, why not? And with the 21st overall pick, I got the Los Angeles Chargers selecting Christian Gonzalez, cornerback out of Oregon. This dude, I watched a lot of his tape, and he is a baller. I love him. I think he's good. I think he's amazing. Now, I think he jumps on it too much. It reminds me of Trayvon coming out of college. Everybody loves him. Everybody thinks he's a top 10 pick. And I haven't seen too much hate about him. But my view of him, I don't think he is as great as everybody's saying. He could be good. And I think he'll go in the NFL as a ball hawk type of good. But he better be a really good ball hawk. And with the 22nd overall pick, the Baltimore Ravens will be selecting Deonte Banks, cornerback out of Maryland. He goes ahead and stays in Maryland and just goes ahead and drives probably 30 minutes down the road to go to the Baltimore Ravens facility and go ahead and meet Lamar, because I believe Lamar's going to go ahead and stay in Baltimore. And drafting a corner after signing Odell, Ravens are automatically put in playoff contention. It looked just like a month ago where the Ravens were already looking like they were screwed themselves. They didn't know what they were doing. And now the Ravens are making moves, and the Ravens are staying relevant again. And Ravens want to contend. And I think getting a guy like Deonte Banks, an aggressive and a playmaking corner, I think he's a very underrated corner in this class. I love this whole draft class. All the corners in this class are going to be very big question marks. And I love the play of all of them. So I like Deonte Banks to Baltimore. With the 23rd overall pick, the Jaguars, who traded up with the Vikings to get 23, are selecting Edge Nolan Smith out of Georgia. Why not line him alongside with the edge he was playing with last year in college with Trayvon Walker? He's either going to be the best edge out of this class or one of the biggest question marks. I'll say that. With the 24th overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings will be selecting wide receiver Zay Flowers out of Boston College. I've heard a whole lot of hype about this man. Can make plays, knows how to get open, is your typical favorite slot receiver. And I watched a lot of his tape. He reminds me of a Tyler Lockett, and I think that's exactly how he's going to play in the NFL. I think it's going to take him some time. So if you draft him, you better be patient. And the Vikings, I feel like they have a little bit of time to be patient and kind of don't. But they also need a slot receiver. And Kirk Cousins isn't the worst quarterback, so I don't see them replacing them anytime soon unless they draft Hendon Hooker maybe in the second round like they've been talking about. Even then, if they do, I don't think Kirk Cousins gets replaced, and they stay in contention, hopefully. With the 25th pick, the Kansas City Chiefs will be selecting Jordan Addison, wide receiver out of USC. Chiefs make the big move to move up from 31 to 25. They lose out on McCole Hardman to the New York Jets. Why not go ahead and get yourself another receiver for Mahomes? I mean, obviously they had enough on defense to win a Super Bowl. You could probably get another defender in round 2. I mean, why not? You get a good receiver, a good number 1 receiver to make plays, alongside with Kadarius Toney, your slot, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who could be a very good receiver number 2. Just develop him into your wide receiver number 1, and Mahomes is going to have MVP years for life. I think Addison can grow with the Chiefs. I mean, any receiver that gets drafted to the Chiefs to play alongside Mahomes is very lucky. I think it'll work out. And with the 26th overall pick, my Dallas Cowboys will be selecting Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas. My favorite prospect, and the pick I'm almost pretty much confident might be happening. We lost Zeke, as everybody knows, still a free agent. Anybody wants him, go grab him. We still got Pollard. Thing is about that, everybody knows Pollard had one of the most explosive seasons. His most explosive season in his career. We're having him on a franchise tag, so why not draft the running back that's in your state and is already the best running back prospect? Why you just let go of your starting running back? Go ahead and pick up Robinson. We know he wants to play in Dallas. You know he wants to stay in Texas. We can have that power back, elusive back trio again. And with the 27th overall pick, the Buffalo Bills will be selecting Kelly Ringo, cornerback out of Georgia. They take the guy who is projected in the 3rd round. People may be wondering, why would the Bills do that? Back then he was projected 1st round. He dropped for absolutely no reason. He had one bad game in the playoffs, and everybody all of a sudden thought he was a bad corner. He is not a bad corner. He can still make plays at a high level. He was a number 1 corner for the best defense in college football. Come on. And with the 28th overall pick, the Cincinnati Bengals will be selecting Darnell Washington, tight end out of Georgia. Dude is 6'8", like 260 pounds, I believe, and can run like a 5'8" or something like that. I don't know. He ran a blazing speed though for his size, and he is an amazing run blocker, and everyone's saying he's going to be a better version of Mercedes Lewis. And Mercedes Lewis is probably one of the best run blocking tight ends of all time, maybe not the best run blocking tight end of all time. So that's huge praise. Mercedes Lewis is always one of the most underrated players. And I think he's one of the most underrated tight ends in this class. And that's probably why he's one of my favorite players of this class. I think he's going to, wherever he goes, I think any team that gets him, he will fit in a system perfectly. I think he is one of the most special players in this class. And with the 29th overall pick, the New Orleans Saints will be selecting O'Cyrus Torrence, guard out of Florida. He is the best interior lineman out of the draft. Scouts say. Experts say. He's a Florida kid. A lot of linemen come out of Florida. They end up panning out somewhat well. I don't think it's the smartest pick in the world. I think it's a smart pick, don't get me wrong. But I also don't think he's the 1st round talent. And with the 30th overall pick, the Philadelphia Eagles will be selecting Josh Downs, wide receiver out of North Carolina. This one hurts me. I'm a Cowboys fan, and my rival will be selecting my favorite receiver out of this class. He is definitely my favorite receiver out of this class. He plays way bigger than his size, has the most electrifying plays I've seen out of any of the receivers in this class. Watch out. And with the 31st overall pick, the New York Giants, who traded back with the Chiefs, will be selecting Jack Campbell, linebacker out of Iowa. See, when you get somebody out of Iowa, you know you're getting green grind, and you're getting heart and soul. I love Iowa players. They always give you heart and soul. And I think with the first linebacker taken off the board at 31, I like that pick. Giants need immediate help at linebacker. They had a washed Jalen Smith running their linebacker group. And I don't think that you want to wash Jalen Smith. As much as I love Jalen Smith, you don't want that. With the 36th overall pick, the Los Angeles Rams will be selecting Hendon Hooker out of Tennessee, the QB. I gave y'all an extra one. I felt bad for the Rams fans. I think this is a surprise to everyone. I don't even think y'all probably thought I was going to do this, but the Rams, they're in some trouble. I think it takes Matt Stafford a year, and I think they know this, that it's going to take Matt Stafford a year to realize he's going to be playing with absolutely, a team that needs help. Let's just say that. And I think it's going to take him a year to realize it's time. I'm going to retire. Go ahead and take your successor in Hendon Hooker. He's not a bad player. He had a torn ACL. You're going to roll with Matt Stafford. He's going to be out a year. Let him learn with one of the best QBs. I mean, why not? Let him learn from a Super Bowl champion. He was technically looked at as one of the best QBs in college football. Let him run your system in the future. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, share to your friends, and comment down below what y'all think about the video. Peace, everybody.
I was a conductor. We do not have a problem. Yo.
I thought we were fucked at first. Jackie with the time!
Ain't no more car hopping and kicking doors. I walk in buying shit. Deserve a plaque the way I work that vacuum seal. I'm too legit. Hoe from high school hit my DM. I just left the bitch on red. Used to throw me curveballs. Now it's why I ain't text her yet. Ain't no trust, but we got bags in the law. Designer fabric, far from regular. This shit on me cold. Just put VVs in my mouth. I could've put down on a house. Took real risks for this. Ain't doing no tussling. I'm shooting your ass down.